Alright, this is it. We gotta get the skeleton out of the closet. Stevie Breach coming back to you out for another one. Today's monumental announcement of the WWE Super Showdown coming to you live from Australia, October 6th. I think it's really cool that they're going to be doing this. More cool than anything else is that they basically just didn't rip off another pay-per-view and just give that title to the show. Even if it is the Super Showdown, maybe in my opinion, they should have gone with WWE WrestleFest to bring that one back, or they could have just gone with the stealing the 2002 DVD, the Global Warming Tour of 2002. I'm glad that, when we debate whether if the world's greatest Royal Rumble stats actually count for Royal Rumble stats in the future, that, it was a WWE Network special, and, I know what side of the fight that I'm going to be on. I think that the one thing that got most people talking more than anything else is the way that when they named their announcement, Shawn Michaels to be making an appearance at the Showdown. A lot of people took that as Shawn Michaels be wrestling one more match. There's been lots of rumors flying around for the last month that, Shawn is getting ready to scratch that itch and have one more match in WWE because of him basically being a coach at NXT, him having to, be around the wrestling ring and the guys sweating and going out there and giving it their best, seeing guys that call themselves the best in the world, and, just wanting to see how he's able to level up against those guys. I'm sure that that Shawn's gotten in the ring with these guys and he's tied up a lot like when you saw Stone Cold Steve Austin on Tough Enough get into the ring and actually tie up with a few guys to actually see what it was like to get in there with them. It's got to be a huge boost to the ego to think that you're able to hold your own against them, and just wonder what it'd be like if you actually got into shape, to go out there and give a 15, 20, 30 minute match, and wonder if you're able to deliver to what the Mr. WrestleMania or the Showstopper, the whole effing show, no, it's RVD, the main event, if he could deliver to what Shawn Michaels was at that point. I know there's a lot of guys in my mind that I would love to see Shawn Michaels go up against, whether if it's, him against AJ Styles, which was a rumored match for the Royal Rumble the year before last, or if it's Shawn Michaels against Samoa Joe, when Michaels, was doing an interview and said if he could wrestle anybody on the roster, he would want to wrestle against Joe. If it's just dream guys that are in NXT, whether if it's him wrestling against a guy like Adam Cole, there's a lot of matches that could happen, and almost anything that really does pan out, I would love to see it. At this point, I don't care what rumor is out there. I would bet my money that Shawn is never going to get in the ring and actually wrestle a televised house show, anything, for money. Kind of thing. I think that, we're lucky enough to get him, teaching at the Performance Center, lending his knowledge of what it took him to be, a main event guy in WWE, maybe telling them the stories about what it's like being on the road with his buddies, and maybe trying to steer people away from going into the pitfalls of, the ego that came along with being the WWE champion, or the drug problem that he's, spoken against and written about in his books, pushing him to a point in his life when he was just one bad night away from ending his life and not being able to live it with his family, and things like that. So I don't think that Shawn's going to want to do it. There's lots of stories out there of him not wanting to disrespect The Undertaker after the matches they had at WrestleMania 26 and WrestleMania 27. There's stories out there that Shawn has regrets about Ric Flair and the send-off that he got at WrestleMania 24, and then of course Rick going and wrestling in Australia doing the Hulkamania tour, or Rick going and wrestling in TNA. I'm sure that if you sat him down in a room and you hooked him up to a lie detector test, I'm sure that Shawn knows who Ric Flair is. I'm sure that, Rick did it because of the fact that he needed the money. Needed the money. Like, really needed it. That he was in a bad place, and he just wasn't going to be able to be Ric Flair anymore if he wasn't able to do that. And I don't think we want to see Ric Flair jump down from the class that he is to being just middle-class Rick having to basically do, picture and autograph, wrestling legends house shows every week just to be able to, pass it by. It's cool that he does, them here and there along the way to make him rare enough that he makes a lot of money then when he does it and he doesn't, water himself down. But there's plenty of guys out there, Brutus Beefcake, Greg the Hammer Valentine, Coco Beware, guys of the 80s, is that they're basically coming to your town twice, maybe even 3 times a year. And how many pictures are you going to be able to get with those guys before you're just like, I'm not giving them my money anymore because what's different? You know what I mean? How many autograph figures do I really need? And how many autographs do I really need in the encyclopedia of the same guy? We've all been there. So I don't think Shawn's coming back, but it's fun to talk about, and we'll see what goes down. The show's going to be in October. A lot could change between here and then, but I'm thinking more than likely that Shawn is just going to be some sort of a tie-in to the Triple H versus Undertaker match, playing off of what happened at WrestleMania 28, whether that means that he's the special guest referee anymore, or if he's just in the corner of Triple H, and we actually see the master plan. I gotta tweet Brian Alvarez about that. He talked about that freaking master plan of Triple H and Shawn Michaels for like 5 years. He's probably still talking about it now. So we'll see what goes down with that. Peace out, everybody.